That gives a picture of someone who just sits at home, maybe is in front of the TV most of the time until it's time for school runs, and in between all the other. I don't like to give that impression of myself.
There are times you put on TV, or do you even watch anything? To watch anything.
I think the screen time that I get to enjoy is in the evening when all of us, during dinner or a little after dinner. That's really when except when I just want to just give myself a break and just, let me just enjoy. Exactly. Oh yeah.
I update myself on all the series that I've not watched.
For me, sometimes to Saturday mornings.
I just watch it, and without any guilt.
And some Sunday evenings for me as well.
Without any guilt.
Because you need some balance. Now, so going back to that question, yes, it takes you off guard. Sometimes you're wondering, okay, this person is going to be judging me, so you don't want to appear like, this one doesn't have anything to, she doesn't have any direction in her life, So sometimes that's what. For some people, you can say, oh, I'm just focusing on the kids. I'm really not, And then sometimes I say, oh, I'm part-time, doing my work part-time. And then I really end up saying, really, but I really am not doing much in terms of part-time, but I'm more actually focused on the kids. So it really is tough to just open your mouth and just say, yes, I'm a stay-at-home mom, because you don't want to be put in a box.
Yeah.
You don't want to be put in a box. So recently, I found that word. That gap here between secondary school and university. It's like, a gap phase. Really, it's a gap phase where I'm focusing on the kids primarily, doing other things, but that's my career for now. Yeah. So.
And I think that we do need to change the narrative.
We really need to.
And
we
I
really
think more
need
people
to.
need to speak up.
Yes.
People that, and I'm not saying for people that are stay-at-home moms that are now doing a business, because that's what I see.
Okay, I'll tell you about my friend that I know. Okay, the first time I really knew her, my children's school, and then one day someone just asked her, oh, she's like, oh no, I'm just a housewife. She was joking, but the way she said it, is he a housewife or a stay-at-home mom? The way she said it with so much confidence and with no, or at least it appeared, with no thought to it. I was taken aback by it, but I was very impressed by her, and even in that period, she was, she had a business card that she would still pass around because she was developing her food business, She's very successful in the food business now. But the way she said it and went about it she didn't feel. It appeared that she didn't care what anybody thought. Do you understand? And she was happy about it, saying it. She's a lawyer, and she's saying it. So I was really impressed by it. And since then, I made a mental picture, a mental note in my mind, not to shy away from saying what I really, really do at each point in time. But it was just recently I coined that word, gap phase, because I was going to be in a seminar, blah, 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 and so I just coined that word, gap phase. But I think from time to time, I explain to people what I am really doing. Yeah, it's important. It's important. We really need to start changing the narrative and stop making women feel ashamed, of their decision, to take care of their children by themselves.
Okay, so you talked about, social life being a challenge,
yes,
or one of the drawbacks. So what do you think that a stay-at-home mom can do? Or let's just say stay-at-home mom.
No, it's fine. I think it's
yeah. So what do you think a stay-at-home mom can do, like, for socially?
Yes.
Just to, get yourself that balance, like you said, balance. You have to find a balance sometimes. Take care of yourself, to rest, and all of that. So what do you think as far as socially?
Okay, well, I'll use my own experience as an example. So first, I joined the gym. I could exercise at home and around the house and my environment, but I realized that just going to the gym helped me a great deal, apart from keeping fit and giving me enough energy to handle the kids, you know, because at a point I realized I was always tired. I was always tired. But when I joined the gym, it really helped, apart from helping me keep in shape, it also helps with my interaction. You know, you go to the gym, you meet other women, you interact, hello, if it's just the hello, hi that you do, it adds a lot to you. Because else, exactly, you just, is your husband and your kid, you know, if you don't go out, you know. So that small time that in fact, at a point, I would go with my babies. I would go to the gym with my babies and my help, you know, she would be there. I'll be looking at them and I'll be gymming. So at a point, it was like that, but that helped. And the gym I go to right now also, they also do dance class, where, you know, it's 1 hour, we all just come and then we are dancing. I found that very exhilarating. I don't know why, but it really just helps. It really, really just helps me. So for me, that has helped to up my social life several notches up, because really dancing is good for you. And then you are also, you know, doing something healthy and all of that and losing weight. Then I find that sometimes you have to purposely plan time out with your family. My husband is not the going out type. I'm not either, but I found that, you know, sometimes it's necessary. And at a point, I was concerned for my kids, because I was like, would they have a social life? I mean, my husband and I are not particularly very social people. But now, them being toddlers and older kids has helped, because you have to go for one thing or the other. Someone is having a birthday party here or there. You are taking them for one class or the other, lawn tennis, swimming classes. Somehow, you know, you get drawn into a social life via what you have to do for them and with them. You know, they have friends who want them to come for, you know, for one thing or the other. So somehow, my social life these days is roped into theirs. So I want to do something specifically for them, but still for me, it's really not there. But it's a process that has to be actively pursued, I think. Intentional. Yes, you have to be intentional. I have friends who, you know, they go out every Sunday with their kids, you know, the whole family. I hope we can do that in my family, but I mean, you have to be intentional about it, you know, to up your social life.
Okay, so what would you say about parenting style? Parenting style. I know there are different school of thoughts out there. There are different things people do. You know, there are people that say, you know, don't hit your child. Or who say hit your child. You know, spare the rod, spoil the child. I still heard that one yesterday. You know, there are people that say, you know, you have to, from when they are 3 months, you have to start correcting. You have to intentional, make them sleep at so and so time and this and this. Some people are really strict and some people are a bit laid back. So what are your thoughts on parenting style and what do you think around all of that?
Good question. In fact, I went for a parenting conference some days ago, and parenting style was one of the major topics. There's no one way to train up or to nurture a child. There's no one perfect parenting style, in my opinion. We really need a lot of guidance in parenting our kids, because each child is different. Each of my kids, each of them totally different. The older are different from the younger, the girl different from her brothers. I mean, if one parenting style works with one, and with the other, it may not work, you know. So we really need a lot of guidance and observation as to what style works with each child. For a long time, I've always known that you have to use the rod in court. I mean, we grew up with, weren't you beaten as a child? I was beaten as a child. I mean, even though we didn't like it at that time. But and then, some people are quick to say, oh, don't beat your child, you shouldn't be, until they have their own kids. And then they realize, oh, it's really not as easy. And I must tell you, I have tried the school of thought of not spanking a child. But I see that it doesn't always work. Even The Bible says that foolishness abides in the heart of the child. The road of correction will drive it out. With my second son especially, I've seen that that scripture is very, very apt. With the first one, I can get away with a lot of, talking to him and not having to smack him a lot. In fact, anytime I smack him, I feel really sad. I feel really, really sad. And if I do it out of anger, I always go back to apologize. And I think that one very important thing for parents who smack or use the rod is not to correct in anger. Because when you correct in anger, you tend to go off. I mean, if you were supposed to give the child 1 or 2 strokes of cane, you might end up, just going as far as giving 10 because, your anger. So I'm learning not to react in anger. So I'm learning also resilience. I'm learning long suffering. So many things that we learn, as mothers. That you really have to use the rod. I mean, if you want to get some things in, I think it's necessary. But don't do it in anger. And let the child know why he is being punished. And you shouldn't use the rod all the time. You should always, I think, it should be the last resort. Okay, go face the wall. Time out for you. Or you're not going to, the things that they like to enjoy. Or you're not going to watch TV for 2 days or for 2 hours or for 3 hours. You're not going to get that favorite thing so smacking them is usually by the time they're getting smacked, it's because they know that they absolutely deserve it, But to remove it, I don't know if it works for you, yes, but maybe not. It may not work all the time if you really want to get them to be disciplined. That's for me. But I know that you have to be intentional. You can't be permissive as a child, as a parent. You can't be. Children need to be guided. They need to be disciplined. They need to be taught the right things to do. There are not very many. Some kids come like almost 100%. They're so well mannered. So they're easy to correct. Even then, you still have to correct them. So you can't be a permissive parent. You have to be intentional.
Our final thoughts, one of our final questions now is, as you stay at home, one of the questions are homeschooling or taking your school to a traditional school. So what do you think? What are your thoughts about around that?
Well, I know some parents who homeschool through kindergarten to preschool, and then when it's preschool period, the child gets into a formal school. Some have put their kids in schools normally, and maybe by the 3rd year, grade 3, they take them out and homeschool. I mean, I've seen people around me do different things, but for me personally, I'll still take them to school because I want them to have that. It's my own school of thought, really, to have that interaction, that social interaction, with other children, and learn from other people as well. Because the truth is, I teach them at home, teach them to read, help them with their homework. It's like another school when they get home with me. Yes, it's like another school for them. They just know as they are removing their uniforms and tidying up, they set themselves up, in our teaching corner, and then we are at it for 1 to 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. And then for the rest of the day, they are reading one thing or the other. I'm teaching them. So for me, that's my own form of homeschooling, really. And then I also think that for my own peace of mind, knowing the type of person I am, it's good for them to go to a formal school, because I think that I would be too much of a burden on them. I would want them to be perfect. I want them to do things perfectly, and I may overburden them. And then for my own peace of mind as well, so that I can excel at the time they're in school, do something for myself. So for me now, homeschooling is not, that traditional homeschooling for me, it's not in the works. But I kudos to people who do it, because I've seen people who do it and who have done excellently well. It has its advantages. It has a lot of advantages, but you have to be ready. It takes a lot. You have to be ready.
So finally, what is your advice to people that are currently staying at home to do great honorable work, and people that are trying to make a decision whether not to release the right decision for them and all that. So what's your advice?
I would say brace yourself. It's a tough decision, but it's totally rewarding. I mean, just seeing the smile on your baby's face, seeing them grow, I mean, nothing beats it. It takes a lot from you, but it gives you a lot more in return, and love in deeper dimensions. I mean, nothing, for me, just nurturing my children and seeing them grow has taught me a lot about God's love for us, and has made me know how much. I mean, you can never know the depths of God's love for you, but I mean, it's helped opened my mind up to the deeper dimensions of God as a father, for us. That's on the one hand. And on another hand, I realized that being a stay-at-home mom will help you discover depths of you that you never thought that you had. I mean, it would help you to be ingenious. It will help you to, it just help you to discover the newness to you. There's so many things that are on the inside of us that we never knew are there until we become very introspective. And being a stay-at-home mom will help you to be introspective, because you would have some sort of silence around you. You may not be very involved in the hustle and bustle of life, which takes your attention off a lot of things. So doing that would help you discover so many things about yourself, and you will also be able to try your hands at different things. And you should be open. You should be open. Don't just think of, oh yeah, I can't just wait for this phase to be done so that I can just go back to my normal life. There's some things that you never thought of. You can just take an interest in something and you just run with it. Discover a new skill. Learn a new skill, Learn a new skill. Even if you don't want to use it commercially, it helps. It helps. I went to learn how to sew. For me, that's the coolest thing. Learning how to ride a bike. Oh my goodness. I wish I could give myself a trophy for that, as simple and as mundane as it is,
Yeah.
So there's so many things that, blogging, look at the new things that I'm learning. I'm learning a lot of things, really. And then I'm also online learning one thing or the other, applying for one course or the other that I can do. So don't just say that, oh, there's nothing for me to do. There's so many things to do. A lot of free courses, so many things. You can learn and you can do as a stay-at-home mom. So make it totally worth your while. Another thing that I find that I love very much is I'm able to read. Sometimes, not all the time, but I try to read. I try to give out time, because you know how our life is, especially living in Lagos. It's a lot of work, a lot of hustle and bustle, traffic and all of that. But I try to inculcate reading. And then also spiritually for me, developing myself spiritually, having that time to spend with my father, oh my, is invaluable. Because then you are more like him. You know him. The more you know him, the more you're like him. And so having that time, to spend, it's invaluable. So that's what I would say.
So basically, learn a new skill.
Learn new skills, not just one.
Yeah, true. Learn new skills. Be purposeful.
Yes.
Invest in yourself in this period, in this phase.
Right.
Take out time to develop yourself.
True.
Physically, spiritually, mentally, and so that when it's time for you, or the end of that phase,
good.
You are
yes.
ready.
Yes, you are ready.
You are absolutely
very ready.
So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Doctor,
Timmy, for
thank
having
you
me.
So much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you
honoring
more.
me.
Thank you more. Thank you
Thank
more.
you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you all for listening and for watching. I hope you really, really, really enjoyed this episode, and see you again next time. Bye.